The Taliban have told talks in Moscow that they've seized key border crossings with Iran and Turkmenistan. It's seen as a major escalation in their activities since international troops started withdrawing from Afghanistan. In Bangladesh, at least 52 people have been killed after a fire broke out at a factory. Emergency services say they expect the number of dead to rise as many workers were still missing. The United States will send law enforcement officers to Haiti as soon as possible following the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse earlier this week. Haitian police say a group of 28 foreign mercenaries were responsible for the killing. The UN Security Council has voted to extend a cross-border aid operation into Syria from Turkey after a last-minute compromise was reached between Russia and the US.
Indian police shot and killed a criminal suspect on Friday after he reportedly tried to flee from detention. The man was wanted in the killings of 8 police officers last week. In the United States, coronavirus case numbers continue to rise. A top health expert warns that some states are reopening too soon. The Australian state of Victoria reported a new daily record of 288 coronavirus cases on Friday. And the U.S. Special Representative to North Korea joins Japanese officials in Tokyo for talks about increased tensions on the Korean peninsula.
Fans have already been barred from Olympic venues in and around Tokyo as the coronavirus continues to cast its shadow. Now, authorities say they'll also be banned from events in Fukushima Prefecture and Hokkaido. Baseball and softball teams will take to the field without spectators in Fukushima, and there won't be crowds to cheer on the soccer players in Hokkaido's Sapporo Dome. But Miyagi, Ibaraki, and Shizuoka prefectures still plan to hold events with limited numbers of fans. Hokkaido officials say their decision comes as it would be hard to stop people traveling up from places such as Tokyo. The capital enters a 4th state of emergency from Monday that will cover the entire Olympic period. The games kick off in under 2 weeks. Reactions were mixed.
I think we just have to accept this decision, given the current state of infections.
I wouldn't have minded having spectators, so I'm disappointed.
On Saturday evening, Fukushima's governor explained the move.
The policy of allowing spectators at venues other than those in Tokyo and 3 neighbouring prefectures seems to have been completely reversed after the organising committee's decision on the Hokkaido venue. Therefore, Fukushima Prefecture asked the organising committee if it could hold baseball and softball games without spectators, and the committee accepted.
Tokyo reported 950 new coronavirus cases on Saturday. That's up 234 from the same day last week. Authorities confirmed more than 2,400 new infections across Japan. Torrential rain battered southwestern Japan on Saturday. Weather officials say the deluge has now peaked, but there's still a risk of flooding and landslides. Muddy river water surged into this park in Kagoshima Prefecture. Some areas faced as much rain in one day as they usually get in the whole of July. At one point, Kagoshima and 2 other prefectures were under the highest level of emergency alert. Residents in many areas were told to move to safer places, including evacuation centers where anti-coronavirus measures are in force.
I only found out about the situation this morning. I was shocked. It was so sudden.
And Sunday looks set to be wet again in Kagoshima and nearby regions. Officials are urging people to stay on the alert. Rescue workers in Shizuoka Prefecture continue scouring through debris from mudslides that barreled through the city of Atami a week ago. Many homes were destroyed and residents were swept to their deaths. Authorities have confirmed that 9 people died, 8 of whom have been identified so far. About 1,700 police, firefighters, and self-defense forces personnel continued the search on Saturday. 19 people remain unaccounted for. The torrents of mud gushed down a slope on Saturday last week. 130 homes were damaged or wiped out completely. One firefighter was checking on the evacuation of residents when he was caught in this video. He said he ran for his life as the deluge approached.
The mudslide happened so suddenly, I couldn't grasp what was going on until it got really close. I felt the terror of being in a natural disaster.
The highest alert level remains in place. Small mudslides are continuing in the higher terrain where the fatal mudslides may have originated. Roughly 570 people are sheltering at 2 hotels in the city, including some who lost their homes. About 420 households remain without water. The focus is now turning to rebuilding people's lives. Authorities in Sydney have ramped up measures against the coronavirus amid the spread of the Delta variant, first detected in India. Lockdown restrictions were due to end Friday, but have been extended for another week through July 16th. Residents now face new, stricter rules. When it comes to exercise, they must stick within 10 kilometers of their homes and not meet up with more than one person from another household. And only one person per household is allowed to head out each day to buy food and other necessities.
I urge you as Prime Minister to follow and ensure that we all keep a check on each other to do just that here in Sydney to ensure that we can suppress this latest outbreak.
Australia had largely managed to contain the coronavirus through measures such as strict border controls. There had been no infections confirmed in Sydney for over a month since early May, apart from cases among people who arrived from overseas. The U.S. government has added 14 Chinese firms to its economic blacklist. It cited as a reason Beijing's alleged human rights abuses in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. China has condemned the move. The U.S. Commerce Secretary issued a statement. It said officials remain firmly committed to taking strong, decisive action to target entities that are enabling human rights abuses in Xinjiang. The Commerce Department says the companies have enabled the campaign of mass detention and high-tech surveillance that Beijing is carrying out against the Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities. The Biden administration has been taking a firmer stance against Beijing's human rights violations. It added 5 Chinese companies in the solar panel industry to the list late last month. The administration has accused them of using forced labor in the Xinjiang Uyghur region. China is the world's largest producer of solar panels. It supplies them to nations around the globe. The U.S. also banned the import of cotton products suspected of being made through forced labor in the region this past January. The Chinese government has condemned the U.S. decision. It says the sanctions are based on information that is incorrect. Election officials in Macau have disqualified 21 candidates from seeking a spot in the Legislative Assembly. They say the candidates can't run because they've been disloyal to the government. On Friday, Macau's Electoral Affairs Commission said the candidates had failed to uphold the basic law. It said the decision was based on information provided by security authorities. But officials have not clarified what constitutes disloyal conduct. Media reports in Hong Kong say most of the 21 candidates for the September elections were critical of Macau's government. They also say these are the first disqualifications of their kind in Macau. Hong Kong's electoral system has been reviewed under the leadership of Chinese President Xi Jinping. Any candidates considered disloyal to Beijing can be removed. The UN Security Council has unanimously agreed to extend a resolution allowing humanitarian supplies to be transported from Turkey to Syria. The resolution was set to expire on Saturday. It authorizes a land corridor to deliver food, medicine, and other supplies to northwestern Syria. The area is home to around 3 million people. Many have fled attacks from forces of President Bashar al-Assad or have been displaced for other reasons. The United States and its European allies demanded that the resolution be extended, but Russia argued that humanitarian aid should come from the Assad government. Moscow is a major ally of Syria. The Security Council finally agreed to a 1-year extension on Friday. It came after last-minute negotiations between Washington and Moscow. The decision paves the way for the United Nations and non-governmental organizations to deliver the much-needed assistance. Russia's ambassador to the UN, Vasily Nebenza, said the agreement marked a historic moment. He said not only could Russia and the United States agree, but they worked out a draft resolution that found support with the full Security Council. But he repeated that aid should eventually come from Assad's government. Those were the stories for this hour.